I'm glad to greet everyone at our today's webinar, which is related to the topic, the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi is the true science. But before we come to exactly the topic of our webinar, I would like to make a very important announcement. Tomorrow we have a live webinar of Grigori Grabovoi about the devices of concentration. The topic of the webinar is exactly the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi about God, interaction of consciousness and devices of development of concentration to ensure eternal life. Here you can see the schedule, the time when the seminar starts. And I would like to tell you that it is very important to attend live webinars of Grigori Grabovoi. Though here is in English, maybe sometimes it will be in English, of course. Though here is in Russian, and there is translation in English and other languages, and there are some maybe problems with translation. Nevertheless, people receive the knowledge directly from Grigori Grabovoi. I know this from my own experience. I have been attending his live lectures since the beginning of 2000, and sometimes it seems that I do not remember, there was a lot of materials, but then later on some information from that lecture as if revives in the memory, and I see that I was able to see and understand and to perceive everything what was at the seminar. And currently, the information which is included in the current webinars of Grigori Grabovoi, it is very important. It is related to this newest in the life of all mankind equipment, devices of concentrations to ensure eternal life. And Grigori Grabovoi transfers directly knowledge to the listeners of the webinars. Though I encourage you to attend the live lectures of Grigori Grabovoi. And now to the topic of our webinar. Today I want to tell you why we call the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi the true science, and why it is necessary and how it is necessary to study these teachings. And I will share a bit of my experience of my study and practice of the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi. You all maybe know already from internet that Grigori Grabovoi is a famous Russian scientist, even from the scientists from the USSR, with a very extraordinary ability, extrasensory abilities and clairvoyant abilities. And his abilities started to reveal already during his university studies, even from childhood, but were noticed by teachers and students at the university. And when he started his work as a mechanical engineer after graduation from the Tashkent University. And of course, he was a talented student, and his works as student gradually grew into research works and so on, into doctor's thesis, which he defended, and he became he defended 5 doctor's theses, and so became a well-known scientist. I will tell a bit about the practice, how it all took place, because it is a bit unusual. Grigori Grabovoi, we call him a famous scientist, and we tell clairvoyant. Actually, there are a lot of clairvoyant people through centuries who made some predictions, and the predictions were checked and compared to the reality. And there were some comparison what rate of predictions was true. The predictions and the forecast made by Grigori Grabovoi was checked by a very competent commission that included scientists, engineers, and they confirmed the 100% of fulfillability of predictions of forecasts of Grigori Grabovoi. Anyway, clairvoyance and forecast, still we call it a science. Why? And, for example, this is really a science because Grigori Grabovoi carried out a number of experiments which were recorded by this competent commission and included in the 3-volume book Practice of Control, the Way of Salvation. The commission confirmed that the forecasts were correct and even helped to save the life of people and equipment, since the forecasts were related to the aviation. They were carried out in the real life of aviation company of Uzbekistan. Therefore, many of his forecasts helped to save the equipment and lives of people. So the commission recorded that all the forecasts were 100% true. So this is the practical basis from which begins the science of Grigori Grabovoi. And having received this practical basis, Grigori Grabovoi provides theoretical basis for this practice. So he, based on the modern mathematics, higher math, physics, optics, provides justification for what he done, for his forecasts which he made using his clairvoyance. And this justification is based on the modern mathematics using formulas, calculations, as any other scientist does when he proves some of his new discoveries or inventions. The same was done by Grigori Grabovoi, and he provided this scientific basis. And what is actually science? This is what is proven by the modern methods of science and can be repeated by other people and can be taught to other people. And this is actually takes place with the control and forecasts and the methods of doing control and forecasts of Grigori Grabovoi. As they are now put in practice, they can be used in theory, in scientific theory. They can be studied and used by other people. Moreover, he applied these researches and the scientific basis to his equipment, which is reflected in his inventions, for which he received patents for invention. Actually, we have such a scheme. The practice of Grigori Grabovoi, where he provided the practical proof of his clairvoyant abilities and forecast, which is included in the book Practice of Control, the Way of Salvation. The scientific basis for the practice he has done. This is, he defended 5 doctors' theses, published more than 250 works, registered 2 patents for inventions, and received certificates for 5 discoveries. He gave more than 400 of his own copyright seminars. So this is the scientific basis, and as we say, this is science because other people can learn how to do it, can learn the basis of this practice and repeat it. And this is really repeated in the next 3 volumes of the Practice of Control, the Way of Salvation. It is repeated by his disciples. So his followers who wanted to study the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi had, of course, some results and gave evidences, documented these results in the next 3 volumes of Practice of Control, the Way of Salvation. volumes 4, 5, 6. So that is what Grigori Grabovoi has done based on his clairvoyance and extrasensory abilities. This is a real science, the real science of the future, because it is a very advanced science. And it is really a science because it is proven with the help of modern scientific methods and has scientific basis. So, and of course, this is a very advanced science. Maybe it is the science of future generations. For example, the works, the scientific works which are written by Grigori Grabovoi and on which his inventions are based, received the references of a very famous high-rank scientists who could understand those mathematical calculations and proofs that he provided in those scientific works. So, however, for example, if we read, for us it is difficult to understand all the details. Maybe currently it is impossible. And if, for example, if these works, the scientific works, go as usually scientific works applied, starting from high-rank scientists who use them, then they go down to the universities, to the departments, for example, physics and mathematics, where they used and applied and studied by the professors. They go down to the level of students, and then maybe some simpler level goes to the high school to learn other people, for other people to learn this science. If to go this way, it may take several generations while this science becomes popular. But this science is very important. It is very important for every person. It is very important for mankind. And Grigori Grabovoi wants every person to start using this science immediately, just now. Therefore, he provides his lectures, he publishes, he writes his book for everything, to read these books and start using this knowledge right away, to be able to use, to apply. And this new knowledge is based on a very common instrument that every person has on human consciousness. And all the works are devoted exactly to development of human consciousness and simultaneously on achievement of goals of each person who works with the methods described in the book. So, when people study the works of Grigori Grabovoi, they simultaneously develop themselves in terms of their consciousness and improve their events, improve health, while using the methods described in the book. So, having mentioned all the above, we can say that the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi is scientific knowledge. This is a true science. It is a science that helps people to change any end in the creative direction. The science of how the world works, how all the objects of our reality are interconnected. The science that teaches people through change and expansion of their consciousness to take their destiny into their own hands and learn to develop and live forever. The teachings of Grigori Grabovoi on salvation and harmonious development is a system of knowledge which enables man through his thinking to tune his consciousness and attain spiritual development, thus enabling constructive and harmonious control of events. The only author of the teachings is Grigori Grabovoi. And I want here to give a quotation from the famous book of Grigori Grabovoi, The Resurrection of People and Eternal Life from Now On is Our Reality. In our time, when the world is in danger of total annihilation, the science must find ways to prevent this. In this situation, that system of knowledge and actions is named the science, which has real, I emphasize, real methods of rescuing from the global catastrophe. In my practice, I use clairvoyance. This is irrational technology. With the help of the clairvoyance, I have already prevented many catastrophes of global nature. No other methods could be used for prevention of these catastrophes. It was not possible to prevent them by the methods and means of orthodox science. Therefore, based on the facts exactly, irrational technologies such as clairvoyance, materialization and annihilation of matter, teleportation and others, and first of all, certainly resurrection, are truly scientific technologies. The resurrection of people and generally restoration of any objects. Exactly, these technologies are truly scientific. This is reality. And a further quotation and fact of what was done by Grigori Grabovoi using his clairvoyance. A quotation, what he said about it, a very interesting fact, how he rescued the world. I will give a concrete fact when I had to save the earth from destruction. I'm talking about the prevented by me accident at the Kozloduy nuclear plant in Bulgaria. This information was published in the official newspaper of Russian government, Rossiyskaya Gazeta, number 18 of January 30, 1998. The newspaper published the article "Catastrophes for Tomorrow are cancelled" under the headline "Acquired Sensation." The article told that I prevented the accident on Kozloduy nuclear plant. The emergency could result in a catastrophe of such a scale that would fundamentally differ from the Chernobyl. The fact of the matter is that there are underground layers with high electrical conductivity under the Kozloduy nuclear power plant. In the case of explosion, this would create a vacuum drain, which would start retracting the atmosphere of the Earth. It would have not been possible to stop this drain with existing technical means, and according to calculations of physics, by the year 2000, this process would have transformed our planet into a dust cloud. Detected by me defects and corresponding actions on the nuclear power plant were certified at the highest state level. My actions made it possible to prevent the accident. As a result, the Earth was rescued. So this is an example of clairvoyance and control and focusing Grigori Grabovoi used in his practice, and this is one of the documents which is included in the book Practice of Control, The Way of Salvation. So here you can see what human consciousness can do, what human thought can do, and Grigori Grabovoi wants to teach us this as well. And to teach this, he, as I already told, delivers a lot of lectures, writes books, and wants us to learn these methods accurately and to apply them correctly. And for this, Grigori Grabovoi trained teachers who can transfer this knowledge, how to use his methods correctly, to other people, to distribute correct information about the science of Grigori Grabovoi and exactly the basic knowledge of this science. And to start to transfer this knowledge, there is a book published written by Grigori Grabovoi, that is Introductory Course on the Teachings of Grigori Grabovoi. The book includes the basics of his scientific works, the basic works which can explain many things to people, which they further can use in their practice and usage of the methods of Grigori Grabovoi. For example, what is consciousness, what is thought, what is spirit, what is soul, how they are all connected, and how it all can be used. And so, having this very profound understanding, a very sorry, I read the comment in the chat, so maybe it is not heard, but thank you for the comment. So, very basic information is included in the introductory course for people to understand the basic. And when you understand the basis of some science, it is easier for you to apply this science. And moreover, when the course is taught by teachers who are trained by Grigori Grabovoi, the teachers also help people, help the students who attend the course to understand better these basics, to understand, to get this more profound understanding of the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi, and the teachers also teach people to apply correctly, to be able to understand how to use correctly the methods described in the books of Grigori Grabovoi. And this course has been taught for several years, but it is every year it is improved, extended due to the new works of Grigori Grabovoi that appeared. For example, there are a lot of information now about the new device of Grigori Grabovoi, and it is also used in the course. And the course sometimes is taught in the form of a retreat course seminar. The last one was in summer in Serbia in July, and it was a really success. And the next one, the closest one, will be in Dubrovnik, Croatia. The course will have an additional second course. So the first one was taught this year in summer in Serbia, and the next year in 2017 there will be the second course. The second course is called The Laws of Construction of Reality and Practical Application of this Knowledge in Terms of True Science of Grigori Grabovoi to ensure safe, systemic, eternal development of all. The second course, though the first one also includes the knowledge of scientific works of Grigori Grabovoi, the second course, in this course, they will be studied more profoundly, these works. And moreover, one work which is not available now in English is being translated for this course and will be available for the students of the second course, and this is the irrational knowledge for prevention of catastrophes, which Grigori Grabovoi in 2000 read for the workers of the Ministry of Emergency to enable them to save people in any situations. And by the way, as you know, the emergency, or maybe not know, but I tell you, for example, some problem in the organism, this is a catastrophe of a local scale. That is why this work, if to start it profoundly, can be used for any kind of work, salvation work, either yourself or other people, or in terms of some natural catastrophes for prevention. So this is a very interesting course. It is very useful, and what I would say, why a retreat is advisable, because people, of course, can take a book and learn it at home and listen to the seminars, but we are all human beings and may be distracted by some of our everyday affairs and have intervals between studies. So, and when we study next time, we forget already what we learned during previous reading. So, but at the course, you will emerge in the teachings. First of all, these are 6 hours a day of teaching with your fellow students, and in addition to this, you will have your free time and will be able to have a rest, relax, communicate with your fellow students, exchange your ideas, and this is a great atmosphere of immersion into the knowledge and teachings of Grigori Grabovoi. So I invite you and encourage you to attend this course. And of course, this is not the only one course which will be taught, because we have to distribute these teachings to all people of the world. And of course, one course is not enough, one group is not enough a year. I know that other sub-licenses of Grigori Grabovoi are also going to organize such courses on other continents. So, information will be available at this site if you go to the events. Currently, this is the information about the course in Croatia is available there. And then, if other courses are prepared, the same course but in other countries, or other courses, you can find information here. And currently, this is the current page where there are ads about the nearest courses. This is the announcement about the current webinar which we are having now. This is the announcement about the tomorrow webinar of Grigori Grabovoi. And this is the announcement about the seminar of Marina Morozkina, which will take place very soon in Switzerland, in French. By the way, I would like to mention that there are a lot of seminars which take place now in French, organized by Ishaya Amazon, and they are a success. I will give you a link to all these sites where you can, for example, follow the information and check. And of course, if you still prefer to study by books, you can find the books at Amazon. There are a lot of books in various languages of Grigori Grabovoi, and of course you can start studying or continue studying reading books. And here are the links. To study the knowledge of Grigori Grabovoi and receive accurate knowledge, please use the official sources. Officially published works, workshops conducted by licensed teachers, or organized by the Education Center of the company Grigori Grabovoi DOO or sub-licenses. In this case, you will get the exact knowledge of the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi. You can get information on the official training, on the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi at the following sites. And I will, in the chat, I will place the links where you can later on go and see it. Here are the links which are available here. And I want to mention one more thing. We discussed here that the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi is a science, and it is real science, advanced science, the science for the future generation. And in order to assimilate this science, you should use the methods of the science accurately. So as these methods are described in his books. And also the teachers at the seminars currently explain how to use the methods of Grigori Grabovoi correctly. And here I want to consider a couple of methods which are available in the book of Grigori Grabovoi Concentration Exercises, and read how Grigori Grabovoi explains, give a quotation to, explains how to carry out this methods, and share with you my experience on usage of these methods. So, exercises for every day of the month for development of consciousness, for development of your life events in favorable direction, for getting full value health, and for establishment of harmony with the pulse of the universe. I would recommend finding some time for the exercises which are cited below. For each day of the month, I recommend 3 exercises corresponding to this day. These exercises contain control of events. For this purpose, different concentrations should be applied. During the concentration, keep remembering the exact aim you would like to achieve. The aim might be realization of a desirable event, for example, recovery from a disease, development of a mechanism of knowledge of the world, and so on. The main thing here is to conduct always regulation of information for the universal salvation and harmonious development. Such regulation can be a struggle against destruction at information level, because you fulfill the work of rescuers. So, I saw, and you of course saw, a lot of exercises, extracts from these books for every day with the numbers which are included in this book by Grigori Grabovoi. But I'm not sure that people use concentrations on these number series exactly as Grigori Grabovoi recommends. And therefore, here I want to show you how it is necessary to follow the recommendations of Grigori Grabovoi when you carry out concentrations. Actually, each of his books has recommendations how to work exactly with the numbers included in this book. Practically, at the level of your perception, a concentration can be carried out in the following way. In your mind, you determine the aim of the concentration, which looks like some geometric form, a sphere, for example. This sphere is the aim of the concentration. Spiritually, you dispose yourself to build events which you need the way as the Creator does it. During concentrations at various objects, at concrete figures, or at cognition of reality, control location of the sphere. By a volitional effort, move the sphere to the area of your perception, which gives more light at the moment of concentration. I presented one of the variants of technology of concentrations. In practice, you can find a lot of others. The ways of control of events based on understanding of the world processes through concentrations are very effective. This is a quotation from the book of Grigori Grabovoi, where he explains how to carry out concentrations. So, before doing concentrations on numbers included in some book, you have carefully read and visualize exactly what he is explaining. And now consider how he explains, we'll read his explanations, how he explains how to carry out concentrations for 7 figures, number series, and the next for 9. But I would like to draw your attention to the following. For example, I prepared here a drawing, an image below the explanation. Please bear in mind that this is my personal perception of the method. I don't say do it like this as I showed here in the slide. You should read attentively the method of Grigori Grabovoi and visualize maybe your own way. Because as you heard, he says you should be open to this process, you should be creative. The main thing is to read and to find your own understanding of what he explains. So let's now read his explanation. When you concentrate on a series of 7 figures, you may imagine that the figures are located on the surface of a cube, on one of its sides. Doing this, in accordance with your feelings, you may move these figures, changing their locations in order to achieve maximum effect. You may act quite a different way. In your mind, you may connect each number with some element of external or internal medium. These elements are not necessarily to be homogeneous. One number, for example, you may connect with some tree, another with some feeling. You decide yourself. In this approach, you symbolically equate the numbers with the elements of reality chosen by you. As ever, these elements of reality may be not only physical, but mental as well. It means you may imagine them in your consciousness. So, here, in this very short passage, Grigori Grabovoi provides several methods of how to concentrate on the numbers. And this scheme is only how I visualize, and moreover, very roughly, of course. But I like this method very much, and I mainly use this one. So you may choose something, another one which he describes here. And now the 9-figure number series. When you concentrate on a sequence of 9 figures, you may imagine that you are in the center of a sphere, and the figures are located on its internal surface. Information about the aim of the concentration can be inside of this sphere, in a form of a ball. You should dispose yourself to find that number which gives more light. Having received the first idea that some number from the row which is on the external surface of the big sphere shines brighter than others, you should fix this number. Then mentally join the internal sphere which contains the aim of the concentrations and the element of perception in the form of a number. So this is the explanation of Grigori Grabovoi. So you should read it attentively and visualize what he tells here. And actually, you will see your own method and how you will implement it. I would say that I have been using these concentrations almost from the very first year. I have learned and started to study the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi, and I am doing them every day. Actually, I do not skip a day because I have the numbers for the numbers in my telephone, and even when I travel, of course, I maybe not always doing the text exercises, number 1 and number 3, but numbers always. I set my goal. I have a list of goals, main goals for me, and I use it several minutes, but still I use it. Maybe I work for a longer time on some goal. They change, replace. I do not use anymore those which are achieved. And I work with other ones. Some goals remain in my list longer, some short, for a shorter period achieved, but this is very effective. So when I started to study the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi and to use his methods, my life really changed. Very, very significant changes and favorable changes took place in my life with people, with my loved ones, and so on, with me, with my career and everything. So I love the teachings, I use it for myself, and especially I love this book from which I began studying the teachings. And I would like to say also, based on my experience, that sometimes some events happen and take place as if they were controlled, even if they were not in the goal of my, in the list of my goals which I use in the daily concentrations. But for example, as soon as I, in my daily affairs, determine that I need to do something, it is then as if turned on very quickly. It means that all the environment, when I train my consciousness and I construct favorable events in terms of salvation, the goal of salvation is available for everyone. The events for myself also take favorable direction. So you may also continue working and start working if you don't work this way with the concentration, but please read attentively the recommendations of Grigori Grabovoi and follow the methods he recommends in his books. And I prepared 2 answers to the questions and discussions which I saw in Facebook. There were questions of people, and I was here to give answer to them and explain also through the methods of Grigori Grabovoi how to work on achievement of these goals which people were asking for. So I prepared this answer, how to work with what they were asking for. Actually, the questions were about how to withdraw negative, that is how to get rid of negative, and about is it possible to understand a foreign language immediately, for example, without translator. So I find here, and I found the answer through, of course, there are a lot of answers on, and a lot of information in the works of Grigori Grabovoi, but actually, for this webinar, I prepared the answer based on the work of Grigori Grabovoi, number series for psychological normalization. And here, in the introduction to this book, Grigori Grabovoi, as in every book, provides explanation how to work with the number series included in this book. So, psychology of eternal development creates social bonds of society and laws to ensure a real eternal development of man and mankind. The methods of normalization in the direction of eternal development are as follows. It is possible to read the number series that are after the term or concept, or pronounce them mentally, or mentally croon so that you perceive the sound of the melody at some distance from your physical body. The melody you are crooning can be any, or you can simply know that there is a melody, but not perceive any particular melody. The area of your thinking in this case may have a different form of spheroidal structures. It is available to perceive the form of your controlling thought that corresponds to the term somewhere near your physical body, and by an effort of will, you should move this form or modify it to receive the result. You can feel and perceive that some form means the result of eternal development. So, this is the explanation which Grigori Grabovoi provides in this book, how to work with the number series. And I would like to say that when you, for example, attend the course, each book and each method, each book of Grigori Grabovoi lecture include a lot of methods. And this way, as I now explain, the teacher during the courses explain people how to use this method. They also carry them out in the group and attain better understanding how to work with the method. So this is just an example. So these are the terms from the book I selected to answer the questions of people which I saw in the Facebook. So, telepathy. The number series is 519489 491848. A phenomenon of transfer at a distance without a reliable means of communication known to science. The information on the status of one person to another, or some thoughts or images. The question to me was, is it possible to understand, for example, what Grigori Grabovoi says without a translator? Because currently the work of translators is used to understand what Grigori Grabovoi is saying. If to be based on the works of Grigori Grabovoi, we can consider what is actually receiving direct knowledge. And this is exactly expressed by this term telepathy, that is a phenomena of transfer of information. And so here I give the answer that in order to develop this ability to transfer information and to transfer the thoughts directly, the person who wants to have this quality should develop this feature in himself using this method that is included in the number series of psychological normalization. This is the number series, and above in the book there is the method how to use it. So how quickly the person will develop the ability, it depends on him, maybe on his work, or maybe very quickly. But it is necessary to work based on the methods of Grigori Grabovoi. And here I explained you how you should work using the number series and the methods of Grigori Grabovoi. The next question was how to get rid of negative from the past. And for this answer, I also chose to answer this question, I also chose a method from the same book, Number Series for Psychological Normalization, which is expulsion. Expulsion 5, 6, 5, 9, 6, 7, 1, 7, 9, 8, 1, 3, 7. Suppression or repression is one of the types of psychological protection, the process by which unacceptable for individual thought, remembering, desire, emotions are banished from consciousness and transferred into the sphere of the unconscious while continuing to influence the behavior of the individual who is experienced it as an anxiety, fear, and so on. So I understand it that this is the influence of the past on the present of man. And by working with this method, by using this number series, you can get rid of that past experience which is still kept in your consciousness. So this is the method to improve your past. And how to work with this method? Again, you should use the explanation given in the introduction, how to work with the number series of this book. So about the negative of the past, I want to use explanation which is also used as an example. I want to use it by a teacher at the introductory course and show it in the form of this diagram. And this diagram, the author of this diagram is Marina Moroskina, who uses this diagram at her course to explain how to improve, how the past how past influences the present. So how some negative in the past influences the present. And please bear in mind that this is the diagram. This is not the method. This diagram shows approximately the scientific concept of Grigori Grabovoi from his scientific book, how actually the present is formed. And the explanation is, the assertion is, present is formed by the light of the past and future events. So, present, past and future, this is information, and it is formed by the light of past and future events. This is explained in detail in the introductory course, and of course now I'm not able to explain in all the details as it is given there. Just take it as it is. Present is formed by the light of past and future events. And now let's talk about the negative in the past from which you want to get rid of. So some negative events, this is lack of light in the past. So some, because you had some, for example, lack of light in the past, your events in the present are formed maybe in that way, not in that way that you would like to have. So this lack of light in the past prevents you from forming the desirable events in the present. And again, now, how to get rid from this negative in the past? This is the method, expulsion. 5, 9, 6, 7, 1, 7, 9, 8, 1, 3, 9. Working with it, you improve, you provide light to the past, and your present events improve. Actually, you do not send directly any light. This diagram just shows how it implicitly works. But when you work on this number with this method, you provide light into your past, and your present events improve. And I would like to give you one more method of Grigori Grabovoi. As I mentioned, gives a lot of methods in different works and lectures which can be applied to one and the same things. So the methods in form of some concentrations, of some recommendations, and some in form of number series. And so I know another method which can be used for improvement of the past. That is, from the lecture of Grigori Grabovoi, the teachings on love. The lecture was delivered on July 25, 2003, and I was happy and happy to attend personally this lecture and listen to it in the classroom face to face when Grigori Grabovoi delivered it. And I love this lecture. By the way, in the beginning of 2000, when we didn't have such kind of live webinars, we just went to Moscow from. I lived in another country, but split my vacation into several parts and went to Moscow to listen to the lectures of Grigori Grabovoi. Of course, not all, but those which where I was able seminars to attend during my vacation, I listened. You can do now the same, attending his webinars. So now let's read the method. I love this lecture. And let's read this method as Grigori Grabovoi provides it in his lecture. To restore the events of the future to the norm, you can love the past, for example, yes? And then you level off as in the tactical level of the events. That is, if you love, for example, all your events for the past 10 years, that is, you treated them with love. Thus, you have created the norm of events for yourself a year ahead, and so on. If you love all events for 1,000,000 years ahead of you, then in about several thousand years, you will get to a phase that you love everyone anyway. So, what is the recommendation here? To understand this method again, you read it carefully, trying to understand what the author recommends you. And to my understanding, he recommends to love the past events of the 10 years, and they will improve the future events. And actually, this is what is shown at this diagram. By loving these past events, you will provide more light, because love is light to these past events, and your present will be improved. This is exactly, to my understanding, what Grigori Grabovoi says in his lecture about love. And how to send love, how to love the past. Because, of course, we know that there were some events that were unpleasant events, that we felt anger, we felt fear, we hate something. How to love it? If you can't just love it, there is also a method in the book Number Series for Psychological Normalization. love 888-412-128-9018. A high degree of emotional positive attitude that singles out its object among others and places it in the center of vital needs and interests of the subject. The love for the motherland, mother, children, music, and etc. So when we love something or someone, we provide love there. So if we love our events, past events, 10 years, we will provide love and as such light there that will improve our current events. So these were just two examples. I gave examples just from two books and one lecture of Grigori Grabovoi, where he provides the methods how to work with his number series or without number series, but he provides the methods. And of course, if you want to master accurately and correctly some basis of the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi, it is difficult to do it alone. Therefore, the teacher this way at the seminar can explain how to use these methods, provides extracts from lectures, and you will study the book together and understand how to work better. And even the introductory course is structured in such a way, it is a kind of course, train the trainer. You will receive the basic knowledge and you will receive the methods how to train other people, because we have to distribute the knowledge. After attending the course, you will be able to return to your home country and provide training to other people to work as a teacher on the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi. Because if you go to the site where you see the teachers, there are very few people. It is not enough to spread this wonderful knowledge to the mankind. So after attending the courses, you can also become the teacher and provide the knowledge and distribute the knowledge on the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi. So I again would like to remind you about the lecture of Grigori Grabovoi that will take place today. Today we discussed one of the methods here, that is telepathy. And please bear in mind that Grigori Grabovoi is able to use this method very well, and he uses it. And everyone who attends the seminar will anyway, through this method, receive this knowledge, though in different languages and maybe missing something. But still, I'm sure the translations will also be improved, because we are always improving, trying to improve everything. So please try to do your best to attend the live lectures of Grigori Grabovoi, which he is currently delivering. So our webinar today is coming to an end. This webinar was devoted to the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi, which is the true science. And now, after today's webinar, you know that the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi is the true science. That it is necessary to study the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi profoundly, in a systemic way, to ensure receiving stable systemic results. And you heard a bit about my experience of work on daily concentration exercises. Thank you for coming to today's webinar.